Sweet and cruel Zhang Ruonan had a difficult life since childhood, but it was always as bright as the scorching sun. When Yang Chen was very young, his family underwent changes and he remained silent. The two met at the age of 8 and became classmates at the age of 14. They both lacked warmth, but had two completely different personalities. For Yang Chen, Zhang Ruonan was his light. In order to pursue light, he followed her footsteps and took the same high school and university as her. He thought the road to pursuing his wife was bumpy, but he didn't expect it to be a two-way journey. Yang Chen couldn't help but see too many people courting her and said, "Zhang Ruonan, you're almost an adult. Are you planning on dating?" Zhang Ruonan suspected that she had heard the wrong thing and said, "What? Can I say I want to be your boyfriend?" Zhang Ruonan suddenly smiled and said, "Why didn't you say it earlier? If it were you, I could have had an early love." Chapter 1. Transfer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. July 2, 2018. Summer. Jiangchen Railway Station. Zhang Ruonan pounded his neck and shoulders with one hand and made phone calls with the other. After sitting on the train for more than 30 hours and still sitting hard, it will even hurt my bones. "Hello, Mom, I'm here. There's too much to carry. Can you ask my dad to pick me up in the car?" "Nan, the store is busy." "Oh, I understand, but I don't have time, right?" "All right. I got it." Zhang Ruonan hung up before Lu Chun could finish speaking. "Anyway, everything is more important than oneself." Zhang Ruonan obediently swung the woven bag onto his shoulder, picked up his backpack, and pushed up the suitcase. Master, 276, Jishu Lane, Happiness Home Restaurant. The person who loves her the most has already gone to heaven. It's hard to find someone who can accommodate her like this in the world, right? She looked out the window, feeling somewhat lost. Outside the car window, there are tall buildings, streets and alleys, with flowers blooming like flowers. Strange people, unfamiliar cities, speak of loneliness and desolation. Actually, this is not Zhang Ruonan's first time coming to Yangchen. Since the age of 8, she has been traveling alone between Chuancheng and Jiangchen every summer vacation. Her parents are very busy and have never taken her out of a radius of 5 kilometers. The place she is most familiar with this city is probably the train station. About 20 minutes later, the car arrived at its destination. Dang! Zhang Ruonan took the last thing and closed the trunk. "Thank you, Master." Zhang Yuanji immediately looked up when he heard the commotion, and then bounced up from the chair with a rub. Nan, here we are." Without even paying attention to the dishes in his hand, he threw them directly onto the ground and walked quickly to Zhang Ruonan. "Come on, Nan, give the things to Dad, Dad will help you take them." As she spoke, she took the woven bag and suitcase from her hand. Lu Chunlai heard the exclamation and followed closely behind. "You've arrived, you're so worried about your mother." Zhang Ruonan looked up and didn't want to say anything more. What is there to say about a mother who forces an 8-year-old child to cross provinces alone? Besides, I'm really worried why I have to force myself to bring so many useless things. She changed the topic and said, "Dad, have you had anything to eat?" "I haven't eaten yet." As soon as Zhang Yuanji heard that his daughter had not even eaten food, he hurriedly ran to the kitchen. "Dad will go stir-fry 2 dishes for you soon, it will be ready soon." Lu Chunlai placed his luggage in the cashier. "Leave the things here. The store closed tonight and ask your father to bring them back." Zhang Ruonan didn't really want to talk to her and casually found a seat to sit in. Her mother always speaks in a hurry, poking her heart and lungs. Over the years, most of the harm she has suffered comes from her own mother. For her grandmother, she values boys over girls and has disliked herself since childhood. From beginning to end, she had no expectations of her. Lu Chun hesitated to speak, and his indifferent attitude towards his own daughter was somewhat difficult to accept. But who let themselves owe her so many years? She moved her lips, but in the end, she didn't say anything. Zhang Yuanji's movements were very sharp, and he quickly cooked 2 dishes. 1 shredded pork and hot pickled mustard greens and 1 lettuce with mashed garlic. Zhang Ruonan. Yang Chen took a few steps and ran to Zhang Ruonan, looking extremely excited. I heard you're going to transfer to Yangchen. Zhang Ruonan, who was struggling to cook, looked up at the sound. The line of sight was tightly blocked by a big boy who was over 1.8 meters tall, with handsome features and broad shoulders. Seeing her friend, Zhang Ruonan's frustration instantly dissipated. I am not alone either. At least there's still him, isn't there? I have only been this good friend for so many years. People in their hometown value boys over girls and often instruct their children to bully them, so they don't have many friends. At first glance, the name Yang Chen may sound sunny, but in fact, it is the opposite. His father had an affair, and his parents divorced when he was a few years old. His mother tortured herself into schizophrenia because she couldn't take it easy. She was depressed for a long time and died within 2 years. Since then, people who were already quiet have become almost silent. My parents have been divorced for less than a year, and my mistress is helping me. His father settled in his stepmother's hometown of Jiaqing all year round, just like he had been married. Yang Chen can only live with his grandfather who is almost 90 years old. Seeing his wrinkled face with a smile, Zhang Ruonan couldn't help but want to tease him. Who said that? He has a thin skin, it's quite amusing to tease him. Of course it's your parents. Yang Chen looked at her in confusion, not understanding what her words meant. Zhang Ruonan forced himself to suppress his smile. Oh, no, I didn't agree. Who transferred to their 3rd year of high school? Yang Chen's smile suddenly froze and her heart tightened. Yeah, who would transfer schools at such a crucial time in their senior year? Pushi, I'm lying to you. I transferred to Jiangchen No. 1 middle school. How many classes? Class 1. Yang Chen looked up at her incredulously, his face swollen with excitement and turned into a pig liver color. Really? I'm in class 1. Zhang Ruonan bit her lips and chuckled, pretending to be unaware. Oh, what a coincidence. The surprise came too suddenly, and Yang Chen was probably overwhelmed and began to speak incoherently. Don't worry, I will protect you well in the future. Does he know what he's talking about? Completely wrong. Looking at the person in front of me who appeared somewhat bewildered due to excitement, tall and imposing. Zhang Ruonan couldn't help but sigh, time waits for no one, it turns into hair in an instant. I remember the first time they met, at the age of 8. Chapter 2. Meeting Yangchen. You are listening at novel full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 3. Opening of school. You are listening at novel full.audio. After washing up at night, Zhang Ruonan finally remembered that she had not reported safety to anyone yet. Hurriedly grabbing the phone. Hello uncle, I'm here. Okay, pay attention to safety, if someone bullies you, tell uncle and he will help you deal with it. Don't worry, I'm loved by everyone and flowers bloom. I'm sure no one will bully me. That's good, uncle. We're going to turn off the lights here. Hang it up first. Zhang Ruonan spent the entire summer vacation very leisurely because she was a transfer student and no one would check her homework. Early on September 1st, Yang Chen waited at Zhang Ruonan's doorstep. Nan, hello. Coming. Zhang Ruonan grabbed his backpack and ran out in a hurry. As expected, laziness stems from comfort and almost missed out on big things. Let's take a taxi, it feels like it's too late. Opening the door, Zhang Ruonan was still holding her hair with her hands, and finally gave herself a perfect bun. She is 163 years old, wearing a school uniform set of navy blue shorts, a polo shirt with a white blue collar, and 2 white stripes on both sides of her pants. White socks up to the calves, paired with white sneakers. A phoenix head and a moth eyebrow, a pair of peach blossom eyes that seemed to speak, youthful vitality and delicate agility. This is the first time he has seen her wearing a school uniform, it's really amazing. Her heart can't stop beating, it's so crispy and numb. Zhang Ruonan tied her hair and looked up to see Yang Chen wearing the same school uniform. She couldn't move away at a glance. At a height of 1.8 meters, with a chestnut head, clean and elegant temperament. Sure enough. There is a poetic and scholarly aura in the abdomen that blooms naturally. What are you looking at? Yang Chen felt a bit embarrassed when she stared at her. How tall are you? Last semester's physical examination was 185, however, the 2 summer vacations did not see such significant changes, and Zhang Ruonan had to sigh. You've been eating feed for the past 2 years, haven't you? You've been pushing it so fast. 2 years ago, he still looked as if he was as sick as Shizi, winning 3 points. Yang Chen looked at her steadily, his gaze fixed. This is not perfect, it just happens to protect you. The sound is magnetic and deep with a certain firmness. It seems that this is not a casual remark, but a promise. Why does this sound so ambiguous? Did I misunderstand? Can the pig-killing knife of time still change a person's personality? Zhang Ruonan dare not think much. Let's go. We'll be late later. To the left of the entrance of Jiangchen No. 1 Middle School is the basketball court. The 3rd year of high school is located in Building B1, facing the right side of the gate. Class 1 of the 3rd year of high school is on the 1st floor. Along the way, many people stared at Yang Chen, some looked around, and some were openly jealous. Are you very famous in this school? Yang Chen touched the tip of his nose, feeling a bit guilty. Can you say so? Coming Yang Xiaoqiao is here. He is indeed accompanied by an unparalleled beauty. Really? Let me see, I've never seen a woman close to the school grass before. Who in the world has taken the heart of this high mountain flower? 2 people appeared, and everyone rushed around to tell each other. In an instant, several classes of people gathered together. Zhang Ruonan said, Do you need this? This is too exaggerated, right? Oh. I don't care who took the heart of the school grass anymore, I feel like I'm heartbroken. These 2 people are a great match, handsome and beautiful, so pleasing to the eye. I feel like I have a CP fan. I don't know how many people have been heartbroken now, I haven't seen this little fairy before. She should be a transfer student, but I don't know which class she belongs to. As Hu Sheng was speaking, he watched helplessly as the little fairy stepped into the door of his classroom. Wow, it's amazing. 2 people with peak looks are both in their own class. Class 1 is a key class, and those who can transfer to Class 1 should not be underestimated. Beauty and strength coexist, wow, it's so amazing. Zhang Ruonan walked into the classroom and glanced, only to find a vacant seat in the last row. He walked straight over. Yang Chen didn't even think about sitting next to him. Hu Xing walked over and deliberately reminded. That, Yang Dashan, this is my position. Well, I know. Can you temporarily take my seat? After speaking, I glanced at Zhang Ruonan. You understand the reason? Sure, no problem. I knew these 2 people had an unusual relationship, they were already together. Little fairy, my name is Hu Xing. What's your name? Hu Xing really likes this eye-catching couple and can't help but want to know the name of another protagonist. Hello, I am Zhang Ruonan. The color of the nan tree is dim, and the nan by the river is covered in green. Yang Chen glanced over directly with a cold tone. Class is coming, Hu Xing couldn't help but tremble for a moment. Yes, class is coming, I should go back to my seat. Chapter 4. Harassment. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ding ling ling. The class bell rang soon after, and a 1.75-meter square-faced, upright man walked in with a textbook and a stack of test papers. There was a sudden silence in the classroom, and everyone immediately sat up straight, whispering in unison. Zhang Ruonan knows that this is the homeroom teacher Wang Bing, and his photo is on the information given to him by the uncle. Zhang Ruonan. Come on. As soon as I stepped onto the podium, the homeroom teacher waved to me. Everyone immediately turned their heads to me. Amidst the attention of the crowd, I slowly walked up to the podium and obediently stood next to the teacher. This is our new classmate, Zhang Ruonan. Welcome everyone. Wow. A round of applause rang out neatly below. Zhang Ruonan, please sit in the third row in the middle. He Kong sat in Su Yiming's current position, and Su Yiming moved to the last row next to Hu Sheng. This arrangement is based on height, which is quite reasonable. I just can't be happy no matter what. My desk mate is a little girl who is about the same height as me. She has shoulder-length short hair, cold white skin, and her eyes are cut. She is a clean and cheerful girl with a beautiful appearance and a strong sense of justice. The fact is indeed so. A week after entering school, I was blocked at the entrance of the hallway by a thug from class 4. After finishing lunch that day, I went to the restroom alone. I was stopped by someone over 1.8 meters tall when I came out. He moves wherever I go. What's up? I can't bear it anymore and have to stop. My name is Yang Chen. I am not cold to him, and I am very disgusted with such impolite and promiscuous behavior. Oh. What's up with me? He himself seemed unaware. I like you. Oh, I don't like you. I raised my foot and was about to leave, but he stopped me again. What is your phone number? Are you unable to understand human language? I don't have much patience with this scoundrel. Just as he was about to give him an over-shoulder throw, Skoko ran over. Don't bully our classmates. Shirkoko protected me behind like a hen protecting her cubs. Hurry up and leave. If you don't leave, I'll call someone. You can still shake people, so cool. The person named Yang Chen saw someone coming, and if he didn't want to continue his entanglement, he would leave. After the person left, Skoko pulled me up and down to check. Are you okay? I'm fine, let's go back to the classroom. I smiled and thought this person was quite cute. Ask me to accompany you when you go to the bathroom in the future. You look so beautiful and are easily harassed. Okay, so, I have my second friend in Yangchen, who is still a girl. Where there is injustice on the road, there is a good life of right and wrong. As soon as she sat down, Zhou Yating walked up to me with high spirits. Are you dating Yangchen? What does your family do? A series of questions left Zhang Ruonan somewhat confused. Before she could speak, Zhou Yating continued to set fire. Did you post it only because his family has money? I've seen many people like you. Have money. Where did his family get the money? I couldn't help but ask in my heart. Why don't you know? His family has a military factory. Zhou Yating lowered her gaze, proud as a peacock. It seems that everyone except her is a ground beetle. Oh. Is that right? I looked up and gave him a playful glance. Nan, listen to me explain. He was a bit panicked, afraid that she might misunderstand him. Zhang Ruonan glanced at him and got up, walking towards the classroom. He immediately stepped out of his long legs to follow. As I passed by Zhou Yating, I gouged out her with a cold gaze and a strong warning. No one left, you can tell. He carefully observed her expression, like a child who had done something wrong. He was careful and only spoke when he realized she was not angry. I didn't mean to not tell you. When I was a child, I had some psychological problems due to family upheavals, but I never found a chance to say it when I got better. Psychological disorders. No wonder when I was a child, I almost remained silent and looked malnourished. Thinking about his past appearance, Zhang Ruonan felt strange and heartbroken. I really didn't mean not to tell you. He suddenly raised his excited tone a lot and emphasized it again. Zhang Ruonan didn't speak and glanced at him to signal him to continue. After calming down for a moment, Yang Chen continued to speak. My grandfather used to go to the battlefield before, and after retiring, he worked as the director of a steel plant for a few years. Then he started his own business and gradually established his own technology center. Is there nothing else to do? He immediately picked up her hands and looked at her seriously. I swear, it's gone. I will never deceive you. His voice is magnetic and milky, and his starry eyes are watery. This art style. Is he acting coquettish? Zhang Ruonan stared blankly at the impeccable face in front of her. My heart can't take it anymore. What's going on? Chapter 5. Conquering a Little Brother. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Let's go back to the classroom. Zhang Ruonan didn't dare to look anymore and took a step forward. You've calculated it back, you're so worried about me. As soon as he returned to the classroom, Shirkiki rushed forward with a nervous expression on his face. Zhang Ruonan is a bit speechless, treating herself as a child with no ability to act. I'm not made of mud, what's bothering me? Shirkiki strongly disagrees. You don't know, Yang Chen is such a shameless person. Being entangled by him is like a dog skin ointment that can't be shaken off. Yang Chen is suspicious. What are you saying again? Shirkiki vividly reproduces the events of that time, even adding some embellishments. It's Nan, come out after using the restroom at noon. After listening, Yang Chen furrowed his brows and stared at Zhang Ruonan with worry. Zhang Ruonan couldn't bear it anymore. It's okay, I'm not afraid of him. If he dares to come, I'll beat him up. After learning how to fight from my uncle for so long, it's not a problem to be a thug. Hu Xing drifted over from somewhere at this moment. Jiang Chuan has some capital and background in his family, otherwise he would have been able to stay at school with his reckless bullying of boys and girls. Yang Chen's eyebrows furrowed even deeper. He has naturally heard of the bastard named Jiang Chuan. But he never cared about anyone except Zhang Ruonan, so he had no idea what his family background was. Zhang Ruonan smiled and comforted him. Hi, don't worry, I also have a background. Yang Chen looked at her steadily. Obviously, I have no faith at all. Jiang Chuan is just like what Shirkiki said, shameless and flawless, penetrating every inch. I usually eat with Yang Chen, and he doesn't have a chance either. Today, a relative suddenly visited and went to the school supermarket alone, which provided him with an opportunity. How long do you need to follow? Walking to a place with few people, Zhang Ruonan stopped. I just want to protect you, you're not safe as a girl. Jiang Chuan used to flirt with girls like this, and it never went wrong. I don't need it, just stay away from me. Don't be so far away from you, you won't feel my goodness. After speaking, he reached out his paw to touch Zhang Ruonan's hand. If you get to know me better, maybe you'll like me. Zhang Ruonan didn't show any courtesy to him and threw someone over the shoulder, causing them to fall to the ground. Ouch! Jiang Chuan fell to the ground, grinning in pain. I heard your family background is quite deep. What do you do? Zhang Ruonan slowly stepped forward and looked down at him from a high position. My uncle is a senior military officer who works in a confidential unit in Kyoto. Our family runs many chain supermarkets. After speaking, he raised his eyebrows and felt quite proud. How about it, it's worthy of you. Kyoto Confidential Unit. Can't it be the same trench as the uncle? What is your uncle's name? Jiang Shiguo. Is your uncle over 1.8 meters tall? He wears black framed glasses all year round and has a scar on the right corner of his eye. Jiang Chuan was somewhat surprised. How do you know? Zhang Ruonan smiled dumbfounded. Isn't this a coincidence? I have seen the people under her uncle's command twice before. Team leader, the position is not low. Judging from your slick tongue, you probably have caused some harm to the girl. I'll ask him if he's really good at it. Glancing at him after speaking, he walked away without looking back. Now Jiang Chuan is dumbfounded. He is not afraid of anything but his uncle who serves in the army. A word that doesn't match is really a beating. When he was a child, he talked back to his father and threw things. He directly hung him up with a rope and then sat down on a stool. He trembles all over when he thinks about it now. Jiang Chuan was a bit anxious and completely lost the appearance of the second emperor just now. Wait. Don't leave, what do you mean? Please explain clearly. Zhang Ruonan pretended not to hear his call and went straight back to the classroom. As expected, the next day Jiang Chuan bought a big bag of snacks and came over to apologize with all his fuss. Sister, I was wrong. Please forgive me, my lord, for not caring about others' mistakes. Zhang Ruonan glanced at him but didn't speak. Sister, I will definitely reform in the future. If you let me go east, I will never go west, and if you let me fight dogs, I will never drive chickens. He hugged Zhang Ruonan's thigh, sniffled and shed tears. Hurry up and call my uncle, let him spare me. Woo-woo. Yang Chen watched from the side, his eyes cold enough to kill. Jiang Chuan swallowed his saliva. I actually competed with the school grass for someone. He hesitated for a moment before continuing. Little cabbage yellow inside. When I was 2 or 3 years old, I lost my mother. No one loved me. There's no way. He doesn't know whether the school grass beats people or not. His uncle really beat him up. And he has no strength to fight back. Zhang Ruonan couldn't bear it anymore and scolded. Alright, stop making noise. He immediately withdrew from the situation. So, sister, have you forgiven me? Zhang Ruonan pinched her eyebrows and said. Hurry up and leave, if you don't leave, I'll change my mind. If I don't leave again, I will be disturbed to death. Alright, sister, this is my phone number. If you have anything to do, just call me. I will never hesitate to die on the battlefield. Jiang Chuan gave Zhang Ruonan a note and ran away as if fleeing for his life. As soon as Jiang Chuan left, others surrounded him. Hu Sheng was somewhat surprised and had a dull expression. Am I mistaken? This is too surreal, isn't it? Shirkiki also suspected that he was mistaken. Nan. What's going on? Yang Chen just watched her quietly, waiting for her to take the initiative to answer. It's okay, just file a complaint with his parents. Zhang Ruonan touched the tip of her nose, and her movements were exactly the same as those of Yang Chen. Isn't this considered a lie? Yang Chen watched her movements and felt something blocking her, indescribably sad. If his parents could control him, he wouldn't have been dominating for so long. What is she keeping from herself? Chapter 6. First encounter with Yang Linqiu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Ruonan couldn't bear Yang Chen's mournful gaze and could only find a way to divert his attention. Oh, my stomach hurts so much. I really have a stomachache, so I'm not lying. He really didn't care about anything else and just crossed his long legs to come in front of me. What's wrong with you? I arched my waist, just in front of a pair of shiny long legs. Before he could fully appreciate it, he squatted in front of me. Fortunately, this face is also beautiful and delicious. I'm fine. How could I feel embarrassed to say that my aunt has come in front of a few boys? I'll take you to the medical room. Only when Yang Chen got closer did he realize that her face was pale and her forehead was covered in tiny beads of sweat. He was a bit anxious, as if something terrible had happened. Zhang Ruonan glanced at Hu Sheng and said. Don't worry, it's an old problem. The pediatrics department will accompany me to the restroom later. Yang Chen understood her meaning and turned to Hu Shengdao. Have you finished your homework? Hu Sheng was a bit confused and didn't know how to answer. Ah. Have I finished? Yang Chen's eyes were cold. Yes, I remember. Lao Wang's paper hasn't been finished yet. Why are you so fierce? Who provoked me? There are no outsiders left, you can tell me. Yang Chen looked straight at her, with a feeling of never giving up until she achieved her goal. Zhang Ruonan's blush. During the menstrual period, my aunt feels pain. Upon hearing this, Yang Chen's face was instantly covered in rosy clouds, and her ears were pink and translucent. This makes me blush, isn't it too innocent? Zhang Ruonan sat upright, and the slight nervousness in her heart disappeared in an instant. I'm going to buy something, Shirkoko, could you please accompany her to the restroom? After speaking, he quickly ran towards the school supermarket. He heard from those guys in love that drinking brown sugar ginger tea can warm the meridians and dispel the cold. Zhang Ruonan nodded and said, you can go whatever you want, don't worry about me. Zhang Ruonan propped up her lower abdomen with both hands and accidentally bumped into someone. Sorry. Young Linqiu turned her head and saw a girl with a slightly pale face, stunning and beautiful, shining like spring flowers. It's okay. It's okay. Wow, Yang Linqiu. Upon realizing it later, Shirkiki saw another influential figure. Zhang Ruonan looked at him apologetically and continued walking forward. Yang Linqiu snapped out of her dazed emotions and chased after her. What's your name, classmate? Zhang Ruonan stared at him for a while and confirmed that he was not a bad person. Self-introduction. Hello, Class 1, Zhang Ruonan. Yang Linqiu gave a gentle smile. I'm from Class 2, Yang Linqiu. Wow, he shouldn't have fallen in love with Nan Nan at first sight, right? Skoko looked as if he had discovered something remarkable. Nan Nan, do you know who he is? Who is it? What kind of powerful person is this? Yang Linqiu, his father is the Secretary General of the municipal government. Most importantly, he himself is also very outstanding, and together with Yang Chen, he is known as the two major weapons of Jiangqing No. 1 Middle School. There are countless excellent students who have good grades, good appearance, and good family background. Skoko's expression was exaggerated, and there was no hidden admiration for him in his words. Zhang Ruonan nodded, with a perfunctory attitude, and praised without hesitation. That's really impressive. Shirkiki didn't care either, and continued on his own. I think he's probably interested in you. Zhang Ruonan gave her a surprised look. Don't talk nonsense. Walking side by side with the school grass for a long time is already enough to attract hatred. She doesn't want to be the public enemy of all the girls in the school. For some reason, Shirkiki was very confident and firmly stated. Really, like Yang Chen, he has never had a girl approach him before, and you are the first one. After speaking, she pursed her mouth and laughed out loud, jokingly saying. You won the hearts of the two great gods as soon as you arrived, and I don't know how many jealous looks you're going to attract. Zhang Ruonan smiled and quickly changed the topic. Hurry up and leave, I feel like the volcano is erupting. After using the restroom, Yang Chen handed Zhang Ruonan a cup of black and dark things. Zhang Ruonan's expression tightened as she was about to refuse when she heard Yang Chen's voice. I've heard that drinking brown sugar ginger tea is helpful. Give it a try. Ginger tea. I almost thought it was some medicine and was startled. Zhang Ruonan took it, it was warm. Thank you. Chapter 7. Yangchen brand warm water bag. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Ruonan has been drinking brown sugar water much better, but her stomach still hurts a bit. Fortunately, today is Sunday and we have an afternoon off, so we can go back and lie down for half a day. On the bus, Zhang Ruonan covered her stomach and leaned her head against the car window. Yang Chen frowned and looked at her. Don't you have a headache like this? Zhang Ruonan answered weakly. My stomach hurts even more, I can't stand up. Yang Chen suddenly stood up. You get up and we'll change positions. What are you doing? Zhang Ruonan was puzzled, but he still followed suit. As soon as he sat down, Yang Chen pressed Zhang Ruonan's head onto his shoulder. Zhang Ruonan felt that this was not good, and as soon as she looked up, she was pressed down by him. Do you still have stomach pain? I heard that applying a warm water bag to the stomach will reduce the pain. Well, it will be better. As soon as Zhang Ruonan finished speaking, his stomach was covered by a big hand. At this moment, she couldn't help but blush. I feel my entire spine stiff and completely afraid to move. I have never had such intimate contact with a boy before. Why is a boy's hand so hot, with his big palm caressing it, completely unable to ignore he won't really like me, will he? Yang Chen's hands were very warm, and Zhang Ruonan surprisingly fell asleep comfortably. The summer sun shone on her fair skin, shining brightly all over her. Yang Chen covered her stomach with one hand and stroked her eyebrows with the other. Nan, you finally won't leave me again. Do you know how heartbroken it is to watch you leave me time and time again? At the age of 8, you are like a beam of light shining into my life, gradually brightening up my previously dark world. That time it wasn't that I found out you were a shy girl hiding, it was that I really couldn't say goodbye to you in person. When you leave, I'll secretly watch upstairs. What did you do in the 2 years when you didn't come? Do you know that I think you're going crazy? Zhang Ruonan fell asleep all the time, and Yang Chen didn't wake her up. She sat until the terminal station, still standing still. The driver couldn't bear to watch anymore. Classmate, the finish line is here. Yang Chen pressed his index finger between his lips and made a rustling sound, then took out 5 yuan and handed it to the driver. The driver secretly slandered, took the money, didn't say anything, and started returning. Nan, here we are. When he arrived at the station again, Yang Chen gently woke up Zhang Ruonan. It arrived so quickly. Zhang Ruonan rubbed her eyes in a daze, her voice blurry like a kitten scratching, making her heart itch uncontrollably. Not too fast, I've been sitting back and forth all this time. The driver could not resist roast. Zhang Ruonan looked up and saw that it was already sunset. He took out his phone and it showed that it was already 3 o'clock. They came back from finishing their meal at the school gate, so did they sleep on Yangchen for 2 hours. Are you a pig? You can sleep so well. Zhang Ruonan felt embarrassed and quickly fled. Yangchen followed behind and looked at her with a surprisingly good mood. As usual, come to my house for dinner tonight. Zhang Ruonan's parents are busy and have often been eating at Yang Chen's house since childhood. Upon hearing the food, Zhang Ruonan immediately stopped. What are you doing? My aunt is too lazy to move when she comes. Someone is handing an olive branch, but not taking it is foolish. Yang felt that the contrast between her front and back was so vivid and lovely, and couldn't help but laugh. Well, I'll do. What do you want to eat? A smile is like the spring breeze of March, warming the heart, with a deep and melodious voice. Bang, bang, bang. Zhang Ruonan covered her heart. I must have been poisoned, how could I think he looks so good? Can you cook sliced meat with water? Zhang Ruonan quickly adjusted her mindset. Of course, how could Nan not learn what she likes? Yang Chen knew that Zhang Ruonan was from Chuancheng and liked spicy food. He had learned almost all the signature dishes for her. Then hurry up and leave. It's too hot. Zhang Ruonan walked ahead and fanned the wind with her hands. What exactly happened in the past 2 years? How could this guy be so flirtatious, clean and elegant, looking too sharp for oneself? No way. It's better to deal with one's own good brother than a pig or a dog. Chapter 8. The Bed in the Morning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After taking Zhang Ruonan home, Yang Chen directly led him upstairs and pushed open his own room door. You go lie in bed for a while, and I'll call you for dinner later. Zhang Ruonan glanced at him and was not quite natural. I'll just lie down on the sofa downstairs for a while. Yang Chen looked at her young daughter's posture and felt her whole heart filled. He deliberately played with the smell. What's wrong? I'm sorry you haven't slept before. Zhang Ruonan, I know I slept before, but I was 8 years old. Now I'm almost 18 years old. What's wrong with this person? At the age of 8, we slept together for a month and were so shy that we didn't dare to see each other. Why has it changed so much in just 2 years? No, I can't be cowardly. I'm feeling guilty about something. Who said I'm sorry? After speaking, he lay straight on the bed. Yang Chen saw her lying down and went downstairs satisfied. He hopes she can touch his scent, and he also hopes to keep her scent. Such fusion will make him feel like she is his own. He knows this behavior is pathological, but he really doesn't want to leave her for a minute. 2 years and over 700 days and nights, it's too difficult to endure. On Yang Chen's bed, there was a faint fragrance of soap nut. The sunlight came in from the second floor and sprinkled on the bed, directly sublimating the fragrance, which cannot be ignored. How come even the air is my favorite flavor? The clear senses made Zhang Ruonan toss and turn without drowsiness, even stimulating her nerves and uplifting her spirit. Zhang Ruonan sat up directly and leaned the pillow against her back. I suddenly remembered that Wang Chuan gave me his phone number. He still has some influence in school, maybe one day he will be asked to help. So I used my phone number to search for his WeChat account and then added Huxing through Shikoki. This person is usually good and very enthusiastic. Then I formed a group and picked up my phone and changed the name to a good one. Elderly Care Center. Apart from her and Yang Chen, there are only Huxing, Shikiki, and Jiang Chuan in the group. Huxing said, "Wow, the little fairy took the initiative to add me." Jiang Chuan. "Boss, you really love me." Huxing. At Jiang Chuan, "Who are you?" "Not from our class, right?" Jiang Chuan. "I Jiang Chuan." Huxing. "Gone Huxing. I didn't read it wrong, did I?" Shikiki. At Huxing, "Don't worry, you're not blind, don't doubt yourself." Jiang Chuan. "Do you have any objections?" Huxing. How could that be? Welcome. Welcome Zhang Ruonan. Speak up well. Jiang Chuan's second hesitation. Holy sister Jiang Chuan voice. Brothers in the group, don't be polite to me in the future. Sister Nan's friend is my friend. Zhang Ruonan. Are you busy? Jiang Chuan. Sister Nan has something to attend to, so time is always available. Huxing. What instructions does the little fairy have? Shikiki. Being in a daze Zhang Ruonan. How about 2 rounds of team games? Nan, I washed the fruits for you. Yangchen left and returned, directly pushing the door and entering. And all has been slain. Zhang Ruonan shook his hand and accidentally gave a drop of blood. Huxing said, "Damn it, I seem to have heard the voice of Yang Chen." Shikiki. It's not like that, it's like that. Shikiki said, Zhang Ruonan, to be honest, are you with Yang Chen? Jiang Chuan. Boss, who is that dog man? Zhang Ruonan panicked and quickly turned off the voice. Why did you come back so quickly? This is over, I can't explain clearly. Didn't you go shopping? Yang Chen took a stool and placed the cut fruit thoughtfully within reach of her, then sat by the bedside. I have taken out the meat and thawed it. I will cook it later. Zhang Ruonan watched him sit down and stared at him with wide eyes. He replied with a look of ignorance. After a long eye battle, Zhang Ruonan was defeated. Forget it, he's not enlightened and won't argue with him. Shikiki roared in the game, Zhang Ruonan, you value sex over friends and abandoned your teammates for a stinky man. Jiang Chuan. Is it really? Hanging up. Oh, here it is, here it is. Zhang Ruonan instantly turned on the voice. The savior Shikiki said, did you just bring Yang Chen up in the next game? Zhang Ruonan looked up at Yang Chen. Yang Chen immediately nodded. A few people played together until 5 o'clock, and after finishing their meal, Zhang Ruonan quickly ran back home. Yang Chen was particularly satisfied, with her sweet scent all over the bed. He embraced the pillow with a sweet smile and fell asleep. Chapter 9. Announcement of monthly exam results. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Entering the third year of high school has only one feeling. Tight, tight, tight. Time is tight, progress is tight, and people are also tight. Every day is about papers, practice questions, exams. The exam for the first month of high school was only held 3 days ago, and the results were specially announced today. The teacher needs to hurry up and explain the paper before the National Day holiday. As soon as the grades were announced, the name Zhang Ruonan became completely popular in the grade. Zhang Ruonan has a score of 145 in mathematics, 142 in English, 139 in Chinese, and 300 in comprehensive science. The total score is 726. Yangchen mathematics 148, English 143, Chinese 136, science 300. The total score is 727. By 1 point difference from Yang Chen, he ranked second in the grade and was a full 20 points higher than Yang Linqiu, the second in 10,000 years. Of course, it's not that Yang Linqiu is not outstanding enough, but that these two outstanding people are actually from the same class. According to rumors, the two are lovers. The man is handsome and the woman is extremely beautiful. Both of them are so outstanding that they have become a popular story in the school. Those who admire the morning sun can only be deterred, as they can't just be as beautiful as others, and their strength is not as good as others. Of course, there are exceptions. Upon hearing this news, Yating became extremely jealous. After discovering that Yang Linqiu was interested in Zhang Ruonan, this feeling had already overflowed. Yang Linqiu fell in love with Zhang Ruonan at first sight since he caught a glimpse of him that day, thinking day and night, and his affection remained steadfast. Walking alone on the track of the playground, experiencing the feeling of heartbreak. I will never fall in love in my lifetime, only then will I fall in love, which will harm my love. It's ridiculous that my relationship is about to be strangled in the cradle before it officially begins. Just as I was thinking about it, I saw Zhang Ruonan and the girl who was supporting her that day carrying their backpacks coming towards us. Zhang Ruonan. Yang Linqiu called out to her, but didn't know what to say. She smirked and said, "Do you still remember me?" Zhang Ruonan nodded. Isn't this the person she bumped into that day? Remember, Class 2, Yang Linqiu. After a silence, Yang Linqiu said, "Congratulations, I heard you did well in the exam." Zhang Ruonan was puzzled. Is this person calling me to say that? Zhang Ruonan just politely replied, "Tongxi, you're not bad either." Yang Linqiu felt very sad about her polite estrangement. However, it is also true that for her, she is just a stranger who has a one-sided relationship, and such an attitude is normal for strangers. Rumor has it that you and Yang Chen are lovers. Yang Linqiu finally mustered up the courage to ask this question after hesitating. Who did you hear? How do these people listen? The wind is rain, that's what they all say. Then they are really idle. Where on earth did you tell they were a couple? I haven't even had a chance to take action yet. Besides, my own brother is too embarrassed to take action. Upon hearing this, Yang Linqiu's heart was immediately filled with joy, but she dared not show it too clearly. He is happy on his end, but Yang Chen's mood is not so wonderful anymore. If rumors can spread, he will account for half of the credit. When others ask him if he is in love with Zhang Ruonan, he assumes it. Now hearing her deny herself in front of another man who clearly showed interest in her, I feel an indescribable sense of disappointment in my heart. Nan, do you really dislike me, or are you just naive? Zhang Ruonan, Shirkiki. Hu Xing followed Yang Chen and walked up to them. Yang Linqiu only then realized that each of them was carrying a backpack. Why did you all carry your backpacks? Hu Xing glanced at Yang Chen and took the initiative to explain, oh, let's go straight after the next 2 physical education classes, it's more convenient. Sai Yang Dashan's rival in love is also very good. Difficult to deal with. Yang Linqiu looked at her watch and looked up. Zhang Ruonan, should we add a WeChat account? She didn't bring her phone. Yang Chen was very unhappy in her heart, and asked for her girlfriend's WeChat in front of her, pretending that she didn't exist. Yang Linqiu completely ignored Yang Chen and watched as Zhang Ruonan waited for her answer. I really rarely bring my phone to school. I can't break down my friend's platform, and I really don't want to add strangers to WeChat. It's okay. Yang Linqiu borrowed a notebook and pen from a classmate next to her and wrote down her phone number, handing it to Zhang Ruonan. Can you join me when you're free? I'm going back to the classroom when class is almost over. When I arrived, dark clouds shrouded, and when I returned, the sky was clear for thousands of miles. At this moment, Yang Linqiu was in a great mood. Can we still operate like this? Zhang Ruonan was dumbfounded. How can we refuse this? I can only continue in a daze. Chapter 10. Zhou Yating becomes a demon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This scene happened to be witnessed by Zhou Yating, who followed, and her jealousy immediately blossomed in her heart. Her father is a businessman and has a good relationship with Yang Linqiu's father. He even inquired about their residence and bought a house next to them in order to get close to the water. Number 1 High School is a key high school in Yangchen, and it was arranged by Yang Linqiu's father to get into Number 1 High School. But Yang Linqiu disliked herself very much and didn't want to work in the same class as her. She took the initiative to work in class 2 instead. Nowadays, 2 proud sons of heaven are all circling around one person. I have already inquired and found out that her family is just a poor person running a small restaurant. What on earth is it? During physical education class, Zhou Yating kept secretly staring at Zhang Ruonan with a resentful gaze, pondering how to teach her a lesson. After staring at the whole class, I finally found an opportunity. In the second class, we had a physical training of 1,000 meters, but after running less than 500 meters, Shirkiki couldn't bear it and started to fall behind slowly. Zhang Ruonan led her all the way forward. Zhou Yating also pretended to fall behind and quietly approached the 2 of them. As soon as she reached out, Zhang Ruonan pretended not to see her and stepped on her. Ah! Because Zhang Ruonan was pulling Skoko forward, and Skoko was breathless from behind, hanging his head and not even seeing her. He stepped directly on her feet. I'm sorry. Feeling like he stepped on someone, Skoko immediately apologized. Teacher, Zhou Yating has injured her foot. Zhang Ruonan pretended to be panicked. The physical education teacher walked over immediately upon hearing the sound. What's going on? Zhang Ruonan pretended to be innocent and said, I don't know, so I ran and a foot appeared in front of me. I accidentally stepped on it. 2 boys, help them go to the opposite clinic to take a look, while the rest in place. Zhang Ruonan looked coldly at his limping figure as he walked away. You deserve it, let you be a demon. Do you think I'm easy to bully? Should we go and see Zhou Yating? As soon as the class was over, Shirkiki grabbed Zhang Ruonan and felt guilty. Zhang Ruonan knew what she was thinking with just one glance. You don't have to feel guilty, she took the blame for herself. She originally wanted to trip us up. Upon hearing this sentence, Yang Chen, who had just walked over, was very angry and took a step forward to Zhang Ruonan, saying, then you should make her remember things for a long time. Zhang Ruonan gave him a white glance and said, beauty is a disaster, I am the culprit, don't I know? Is Nan Nan praising me? Yang Chen smiled heartily, smiling, hitting the bottom of my heart. Zhang Ruonan glanced at him and quickly walked forward. This person's smile is not alluring, it's alluring. I have no resistance to that kind of smile that feels like spring returning to the earth and moistens things silently. What about swelling? Hu Xing invited us to go to Pulawan tomorrow, will we go or not? Yang Chen didn't know why she suddenly felt shy. She followed behind with a spoiled expression on her face, forgetting the pain of hearing her deny their relationship at noon. Indeed, she had not formally pursued her yet, the seaside. Yes, it is said that the scenery is very beautiful. Go, why not go? The high intensity and pressure of my senior year are almost suffocating me, so it's good to relax and unwind. Boss, where are you going? Jiang Chuan said, I don't know where he came from. Damn you, big-headed ghost, are you walking silently? Zhang Ruonan only felt his heart thumping and his soul flying away. Boss, are you going to play tomorrow? Take me, Jiang Chuan said as if he hadn't heard it. Zhang Ruonan glanced at him and said, I know you very well. Jiang Chuan really doesn't understand what face is. Don't, boss, we've all played games together before. You even gave me a shoulder throw, why don't you know each other? I will cover all the expenses for taking me to you. Yang Chen looked at this once malicious person and felt very unhappy. You don't need to worry about her expenses, he said. Zhang Ruonan glanced at Hu Sheng and Shikiki, who came out one step behind. Here, you ask them, it's not me who organized it. Jiang Chuan immediately ran over and hugged Hu Sheng's neck. Hey, brother, I heard you're going to Pulawan tomorrow. Can you take me with you? Hu Sheng's neck was pinched by him, making him unable to catch his breath. I can't help but beg for it. A lot of people make it lively. Hee. Boss, he said he can. Jiang Chuan turned happily. Hu Sheng silently shed tears. Why is it always me who gets hurt?